The omnipresent total consciousness is collective consciousness, and things happen by the needs and the time. By our Guru Vethathiri Maharishi. As per the convention, all programs of World Community Service Center are started by meditation. Accordingly, we invite Assistant Professor Muthu Meena Nachiapan, associates with Vethathiri Maharishi Simplified Kundalini Yoga, Singapore, for conducting Durian Meditation. Over to you, ma'am.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். வாழ்க வளமுடன். May the whole world enjoy prosperity, happiness, and peace. Be blessed by the divine. May we be guided by the grace of the Guru. Purification of the surroundings. The atmosphere around us is filled with divine power. The atmosphere around us is filled with divine power. The atmosphere around us is filled with divine power. Purification of the self. The divine energy descends upon us and our body and soul are being purified and blessed. The divine energy descends upon us and our body and soul are being purified and blessed. The divine energy descends upon us and our body and soul are being purified and blessed. Divine protection. May the divine power protect us, guide us, lead us day and night. Salutation to Mother. Salutation to Father. Salutation to our Guru Vethathiri Maharishi. Durian Meditation. Let's start the meditation at Agna Chakra. Focus your mind between the eyebrows. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Durian. Focus our mind at crown chakra. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Let's conclude the meditation. Spread the energy throughout the body. Our body and mind and soul are purified. Auto-suggestion. By the grace of the divine power, may we all enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, prosperity, wisdom, happiness, and peace. By the grace of the divine power, may we all enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, prosperity, wisdom, happiness, and peace. By the grace of the divine power, may we all enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, prosperity, wisdom, happiness, and peace. Blessings. Bless your life partner. Bless your children one by one. Bless the brothers and sisters. Bless close relatives and friends. Bless your colleagues and people who are associated with your day-to-day affairs. Bless your enemies and miscreants with kindness. Bless Vethathirium founded by our Guru Vethathiri Maharishi. Valha Valamudan. Bless the World Community Service Center. Valha Valamudan. Bless the Temple of Consciousness at Ariyar. Valha Valamudan. Bless all the sky trusts all over the world. Valha Valamudan. Bless all the people who participated in today's meditation. Valha Valamudan. Twofold moral principle. I in my lifetime will not cause harm to anybody, either physically or mentally. I will render all possible help to those who are suffering. I in my lifetime will not cause any harm to anybody, either physically or mentally. I will render all possible help to those who are suffering. I, in my lifetime, will not cause any harm to anybody, either physically or mentally. I will render all possible help to those who are suffering. The whole world may enjoy prosperity, happiness, and peace. May peace prevail within us. May peace prevail around us. May peace prevail all over the world. Peace, peace, peace. Valha Valamudan. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for conducting the Durian meditation. வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன். Be blessed by the divine. Dear all, today, 13th February 2021, Saturday evening, after a blissful meditation with immense pleasure, I am delighted to welcome you all for today's Consciousness 360-degree 6th online program meet. John Keogh once said, everything is made up of consciousness and energy. We need to imprint this into our minds. When you thoughts, you can attract anything you want into your life. Vethathiri Maharishi made everyone to understand the meaning of this statement simple and easily. Now, the World Community Service Center R&D department has taken this initiative of Consciousness 360-degree, the weekly conclave. Now we are moving to the session with a welcome address. We would request SKY Assistant Professor Selvam Indra, Master of In Charge, Singapore, Woodland Center, to deliver the welcome address. Ma'am has conducting Yoga for Human Excellence and Yoga for Youth Empowerment and Kids classes. She is associated with Vethathiri Maharishi Simplified Kundalini Yoga, Singapore, last 6 years. Over to you, ma'am.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். வாழ்க வளமுடன், Shankari madam. Thank you. Am I audible?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Good evening and a warm welcome. Good evening and a warm welcome to all the scholars, sky professors and senior professors from all parts of the world. Be blessed by the divine. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, peace and happiness. May we be guided by the grace of the Guru. I am honored to deliver this welcome speech in this wonderful evening on behalf of M.V.Rabindranath Center, Singapore. Today, being the 6th week of the program, the topic is going to be Imprints and Consciousness by our Senior Professor Sathyamoorthy sir. So the name of this program, Consciousness 360 Degree, impressed me a lot, and I just tried to connect it with our Maharishi's thoughts. Our Divine Father has designed this Vethathiri for world peace, starting from the individual peace through family peace. When an individual actually become peaceful. So when the mind calms down and is satisfied completely. To achieve this, we need to understand our mind, power of our mind. So Maharishi has given all about clearly about mind. Other end of man's mind is almighty, he says. That is the fractional consciousness. The ultimate goal of our life is to develop in the sixth sense and attain the total consciousness. That is to complete the full circle 360 degree, which is the title of the program. So what are the obstacles that are not letting us to attain this? There are three reasons for the continuum of our birth cycle. That is psychic attachment to man and enjoyments, material and enjoyments. And the next is the imprints of sense and the ignorance of the truth. That is ego, imprints are karma, and the illusion. In order to overcome these, we practice our simplified Kundalini yoga, which Maharishi says is not merely a method of preaching, but a system that leads us to achievement. Practice makes perfection. So here comes information, confirmation, and transformation. So all the thoughts, all the philosophies we listen and read is only information. When we apply it into our daily life, it becomes confirmation. And to transform it, for transformation, we need to make it into our lifestyle. So thoughts become deeds, deeds become habits, and habits become character. Whenever I see the messages about such conferences being held at Arya, the Temple of Consciousness, I used to think like this: when shall I be able to attend these conferences? So most of us would have imprinted our same thought forces in the universal magnetism, and as a result, here we are sitting in our homes comfortably and enjoying this wonderful evening in the meeting through this wonderful platform. So I would like to mention a question here. In our kids yoga session, a child actually raised this question. She asked us that why Maharishi didn't live for more than 100 years. So we told her that, of course, he could have lived for more than 100 years. But just think, could he be as active as when he was young? Obviously, the answer was no. So he worked hard when he was young and realized what are all the needs for the mankind to live happily and the world to be peaceful. And he has passed it on to all his disciples and followers. It is like a relay race. So he is still living with us through his pure thoughts. So our senior professors are now passing the light of consciousness to us through their speeches. So Maharishi says, man has restricted his mind within the boundary of the sensory perceptions alone. So he requests all well-educated intellectual people to come forward to understand his concepts and take it to the higher level and reach out to the whole world. We must use this great opportunity to learn more, mold ourselves, and clarify our doubts. Like all of you, I am eagerly waiting to listen to our Senior Professor Sathyamoorthy sir's speech. I didn't get a chance to attend, even though I didn't get a chance to attend his classes personally, I have listened to him online. His in-depth knowledge in the sky practices and dedication in conducting the classes are remarkable, and it shows how engaged and connected he is with our Divine Father. Without further delay, let me pass the platform to Shakti Madam. Once again, a warm welcome to one and all, and my heartfelt thanks to our Research and Development Department, WCSC, and all the members of the organizing committee for the wonderful opportunity given. Be blessed by the Divine. Thank you, Madam.
Thanks, ma'am. Now, we are getting into the key session of the event. Everything changes when you start to emit your frequency rather than observing the frequency around you. When you start imprinting your intent on the universe rather than receiving an imprint from existence. Memory is not just the imprint of the past time upon us. It is the keeper of what is meaningful for our deepest hopes and feast, said by Role May. To know the finer aspect of consciousness 360-degree imprints, today we have Sr.SKY Professor Dr. M. Sathyamoorthy, hails from Nilgiris. Blessed by Vethathiri Maharishi in his lifetime to spread Sky Yoga, associated with the Sky Yoga system for over 40 years now. Chosen by Maharishi to spearhead the Sky research initiatives. Established Udagai Manavalakalai Mandram Trust for spreading Sky Yoga all across Nilgiris. He has been guiding several volunteers to expand the Sky Yoga activities from Australia to the USA, all across the world. We have such an eminent personality for us here to give a speech on consciousness imprints. Over to you, sir. Valliapan, sir. Sir Sathyamoorthy, sir, you may unmute. Valliapan, sir.
Sathyamoorthy, yeah, you have to unmute.
Unmute.
Yeah.
Audible?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Madam, this is my regular phone. So I want to change, shift over to my tab, the other number.
Okay.
And if you connect to that, it is
You
better.
can unmute yourself.
Ah.
From there, you have to press unmute option, so that you can the other phone, it's whatever device you can use it, please.
But I will be audible after that. If I unmute, it is unmute now, but the other phone, when I am getting it, is interrupting now.
You have to mute one device. Or you are having two devices here?
Yeah.
Okay. You should just in whichever one you are not going to use, please keep that device far away from here. Or you have to cut off the sound. On the top, you will get a button, speaker button. You should just press so that it will cut off the sounds. It will not echo in the other device.
Oh. Now I pressed it, it won't interrupt, no? The other phones will not interrupt it.
which one you want to use it. Now it is clear. You can continue in this, right? You can continue to speak in this device itself. Yeah.
No, 1 minute. I'll just, that sound I will cut. Okay.
No, it is fine. It's for
Is
us,
audible
it's
now?
audible and no echo.
Is it audible?
Yes, perfect. You can go ahead.
Yes, Ayya, you're audible now.
Hello?
Ayya, வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Sathyamoorthy Ayya, you can go ahead, please. It's very well audible. It's
The
very
video-
clear.
Video is not visible now.
Yeah, it's for us. Your video is visible. Actually, to
And I will make it. Generally, I can cover the area. That is why.
do you have presentation? You have any presentations to load now?
No, nothing. I need my screen in this thing. Video
Actually,
only.
to get your screen, you have to swap. It's maybe that screen. It's just gone. It's okay, fine. No, so you can talk. You can start your speech, please. Yeah, நீங்க screen அந்த screen வரணும்னா swap பண்ணுங்க. நீங்க லேப்டாப் பயன்படுத்துறீங்களா or you are using mobile?
மொபைல் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கு. இப்ப அதுக்கு கனெக்ட் ஆகுது. அதர் நம்பர் அது கனெக்ட் ஆக மாட்டேங்குது. So that is why. Tab I am having for the other number.
No, you want to share any screen or anything?
1 minute, sir. 1 minute. I will use this phone alone.
Sorry for the inconvenience. There is some issue with speaker because he is having he is in the kind of, it's a remote place where there is some issues. Please excuse us. Soon.
Is that good, sir?
Yes, please, sir. You can
Okay.
continue, sir. Please.
வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன். Dear friends, thank you all and wish you all and the whole world to enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, peace and prosperity with the grace of consciousness. Consciousness is a Latin word whose original meaning was knowing or aware. There is a Tamil word, Manasakshi, or mind's witness. Let us see in detail. When you say I, what is that? It is a sound. What is that sound? It is only the physical transformation of your own energy. You go to the energy and ask, from where has the sound I come? The life force is a particle. Within the life force is working the consciousness, and that consciousness is everlasting, eternal. In the static state, it is totality or almighty. In the functioning state, consciousness started working with pattern, precision, and regularity. Earlier, the consciousness was inherent, it was total. Here, the consciousness is having a restricted activity. According to the field, the same consciousness, by association of atoms, association of energy, is working with precision everywhere. What is, if you see pattern, precision, and regularity, that is the consciousness. There is nothing in the universal state of consciousness. We have been trying to think that mental functioning is consciousness. In reality, it is not so. The mind is only the perceiving process of consciousness. The consciousness is a noun, a subject. Its action, conditioned action, perceiving action is the mind. In perception, there is limitation. But consciousness has no limitation. Consciousness is totality, but according to the place, object, and field, the consciousness works with a limitation. Therefore, mind is a limited action of consciousness. In each and every particle, the same consciousness is working as pattern, precision, and regularity. When you trace where from the consciousness has come, it is a state. The matter state itself is consciousness. Can we say consciousness is knowledge? Let us investigate as before. Knowledge is a word arising from knowing. Knowing is limited, a fraction and function of consciousness. That is also mind. So knowledge cannot be taken as consciousness. Can we? Intellect is an experience of the consciousness through senses, through the brain cells. That is all. But it is not consciousness. Mind, knowledge, intellect, all these are names given for functions. Knowing is an action. Who is the knower? That is the consciousness. So when you say I, the consciousness from the waves of the life force sounds through the body. If you go on tracing and further tracing, that is consciousness. Consciousness is totality. It has no limitation whatsoever. Therefore, it is called Almighty. All things moving have limitation, and everything is a part of consciousness. The totality is consciousness, real consciousness. It is the truth. It is called Brahman in Sanskrit. It is Almighty, all pervasive, omniscient, omnipresent. That is I, when the same is limited by knowledge or mental function, we think the mind is I or the body is I. These are all included in the basic phenomenon that is the truth, the consciousness. State is origin. When we realize ourselves in this manner, we will understand as I am living, I am moving, and I am enjoying. Every living being equally is working like me. All originate from Almighty, from the total consciousness, and all are marching towards the same goal, vice totality. When you understand these fully, love, gracefulness, sacrifice, service, and sensitivity, all are yours. This is the theologian view. But in the present era of scientific development, we have to give a satisfactory explanation to people. For that, again, you ask the question, who am I? Body, mind, and life force. Where does each come from? Go back to the hereditary link to father and mother, to grandfather and grandmother, and to thousands and millions of earlier births. Finally, you will reach one point. One man who started life on the earth in the beginning in the evolutionary process. If you trace the first man's origin, you will find some animals and reptiles, then plant life, molecules, atoms, subatoms, and finally the tiniest particle which cannot be divided. When you take this particle and ask the question what it is, it would be seen to be nothing but a movement of the steady state and total consciousness. Thus, the Absolute, the Almighty, is the origin of all. From the static state, energy started. Association of energy became atom, followed by the molecule, then the tissues leading to plant life, worms and reptiles, other animals and man. From that one man, in man, this body, mind, and life force are present. Now, who am I? If you answer, you are the body or the mind or even the life force, it will limit your consciousness. By limiting ourselves in this manner, you are taking a corner or an end of your entirety. From the Absolute to you, is there any gap or break or interval in functioning? No, it is a continuous function. Only by harking back to your origin, you can realize your full value. Against this background, it is said in Eastern philosophy that you are I, you are that I. Having had this much, can any scientist deny that through the hereditary link, we are connected with the totality? This is actualization of the universe. Maharishi says, it moved. That was the beginning. Before that, it was a silent, static, infinite truth. The shimmering with was life energy, simultaneous cradling the atoms in the rapturous turning of the centrifugal world. They joined and exploded. In one volatile splendor, it was the unfolding, the massing of constellations, the suns and the stars, the manifestation of all things, animate and inanimate, the dance of life between birth and death. It was the communion to commingling of spirit and flesh. The emergence of man, conscious of justice and righteousness, fulfilling himself in awareness and in service, selfless and pure. Let us see the joint function of the forces of the nature and the actions of the man. The forces of nature cannot be altered or whisked away. The result, however, may vary depending on the manner in which man deals with them. When you envision the universe, you behold millions of appearances. All of them are in various states, forms, actions, and results. In between the minutest of energy particles in the universe and the greatest of stars, there are millions and millions of masses, various motions of forces and results. Each one of them has its own self-action. By self-action, a wave, a spreading wave, starts radiating, and then a chain action comes into being. Then comes reflex action, and finally the result. The expressions chain action, reflex action, and result are deep of meaning. The spreading wave starting from a tiny energy particle or a group of energy particles will clash on other waves in the vicinity. The action of a man, the action of a wave is impressive in the extreme. Diffract, penetrate, and interact. Every action of every wave will result in a change in both waves. This is to be kept in mind when we talk of chain actions, reflex actions, and results. It is through these four actions that everything is linked in the universe. Not a single thing in the universe stays out of this process. Let us not forget that the entire universe is one unit. By self-action, chain action, and reflex action, everything is getting change in its character, and that is the result. These four actions comprise the cause and effect system of nature, that is the law of nature. For every result, there is a cause, and for every motion or action, there is a result. Nothing is apart, alone, or aloof. So whatever the motion or action, an appropriate result is emerging in nature, and this is called the law of nature or act of God. The results flowing from the activities of man are called karma. In other words, what all actions and changes are occurring on their own or automatically, they are in accordance with the law of nature, and they are the acts of God. But when under the same law, under the same force, a result comes from an action of man, that is karma. What is to be noted here is that karma too is governed only by the law of nature. Let us see imprints and consequence. That is the topic for me to be spoken. Every action of man, whatever it may be, gets imprinted in four places. In the limbs and senses as contraction and expansion of the cells of the physical body. As imprint of thought force in the brain cells. This is second one. Researchers have a long thought that it resides somewhere in the cortex, the outer layer in the brain, but no one has been able to pinpoint where. The Harvard team identified not only the specific brain stem region linked to arousal, but also two cortex regions that all appear to work together to form consciousness. Number three is the genetic center in the seed cells, which continue as hereditary imprints, that is DNA. Each cell which has DNA is a seed. We can produce a xerox of that particular living being without coitus or communion or sex, which was proved in cloning long back. And number four is within each particle of the life force. That is, each life force is get imprinted and mingles with cosmos or universal magnetism. From there, anybody link and tune can get the knowledge. Example, the same cloning research carried out in various countries with different animals but the result came in unique time from 3 different countries. Your thought and research will feed and help the other through universal magnetism. No physical contact, but psychic contact only. Other example is vortex theory, N generator, generating electric energy from vacuum produced from 3 different countries, and today vaccine also for COVID-19 by different countries. Here knowledge is shared from imprint on particle of the life force. So whatever the action of a man, and for that matter, whatever his thought, all are getting imprinted in these 4 places. These imprints are in addition to the pain, pleasure, or peace experienced by him as immediate consequence of his action or thought. Let me give an illustration. Suppose you are learning typewriting. On the first day, you can do the letters one by one only. After 10 days practice, you can type words straight away. And after 4 months of practice, you are able to type 40 words per minute. The same 40 words per minute could not be typed out on the first day. Why? The expanding and contracting your fingers with the thought force every day for 4 months, every movement got imprinted in your fingers. Your fingers have become conditioned, and when you think of the word and, it is straight away typed out by them. The same occurs when you think of bigger multi-letter words too. Similarly, suppose you are reading a poem, a sloka, for the first time. When you close the book, the words elude you, but after chanting in several times, the stanza is picked up by your mind and tongue. And the moment you think of the sloka, you are chanting it correctly and even with aplomb. What has happened is that by expansion and contraction of the muscles of your tongue, the sloka has been imprinted therein. Because of this imprint, when you utter the first word, it leads you to the next and so on in a sequential order. 8 times 10 is 80. You intoned in elementary school again and again. Now, whenever you say 8 into 10 with the tongue, 80 comes. How? By the imprints of expansion and contraction of and expansion in the cells of the tongue. These are all imprints in the limbs and senses. Another example or two. You make a mental note that you should go to a particular place on a certain day. Often you think of the engagement and it is imprinted in your brain. On the appointed day, you go and attend to the work. You saw a wall poster announcing the release of a film. The time and theater are imprinted in your mind, and on the day scheduled, you are among the first to be in the queue for tickets. The original imprint in reinforced through repeated thought impelled you to action with clockwork precision. These are examples of imprints in the brain cells. Whatever be the imprints made in the limbs and senses and the thought force, these are also reflectively imprinted in the seed cells and go to the progeny as hereditary qualities. Further, the sum total of all these is getting imprinted in every particle of the life force. When the life force leaves the body, that life force entered or is attracted by certain other living persons, and from there it releases or reflects all the imprints. This is what is generally referred to as an attached soul. In this way, whatever we think or do, the imprints are made in 4 places. When we think and do anything, that is free will or effort. When that thought or deed, after being imprinted, is reflected automatically, that becomes the law of nature. The consequence is a change in the character or personality of the doer, and he has to experience the result of imprints. This imprint of karma is destiny, otherwise called fate. Suppose you are smelling something, that is your effort. With what implement are you smelling? You are smelling through your nose. You have not created the nose. The nose is a creation of nature. Thus, in every action of man, you can see the joint functioning of law, nature, and of will. All the actions by one's will take imprints and work accordingly to the law of nature. All such imprints automatically reflect again, giving experiences of pain and pleasure. All these are the results of karma or fate. Fate is determined by the imprints of deeds and their reflection according to the law of nature. So one's present action conditions the destiny of his future. In short, numerous forces, associations, clashes, disintegrations, chain actions, reflections, and results are always going on in the universe under the law of nature. Everything is perfect in its pattern, precision, and regularity. Any action committed by man results in peace, pleasure, or pain immediately or produce the same results at a later point in time. This is what is known as karma. The results as karma, as imprints, reflections, consequential results, and the change of personality are together called fate or destiny. This may be reactions of nature on the activity of man, or a reaction of the mind of a man by the activity of another man. The changes happening in the universe naturally are termed evolutionary process. Now let us see how to get in tune with nature. The next question is it possible for us to change destiny? Now you have come to an understanding of destiny. You have also understood the nature of the imprint of karmas and the process of evolution of personality and the causes of its changes. Can't you change the imprints by suitable actions? You could certainly do that by expiation, superimposition, or dissolution. Destiny has come according to your karma. So why can't you change it with your own action? For that, of course, one has to understand the nature of karma already imprinted and then determine the best way to dissipate it. One of the 3 modes already mentioned, viz. Expiation, superimposition, or dissolution, has to be chosen and adopted. Before going further into this, I have something more to say about the process of the forces of nature. Rain pours every year. It is not by the will of a person. It is by the force of nature. The rain that has fallen on the ground is stored up in a reservoir by building a dam. What is the law of nature and what is the force of will? The law of nature is that when the rain pours, water will go to the low-lying lands. After coming to know this, man obstructed the flow by raising a dam. Every then, the force remains for the water to reach the ocean. That force will always be there. The accumulated water may go partially underground or as vapor to the sky, but its inherent force is only to run in the direction of the ocean. Sometimes it may even break the dam and go to its destination vice the ocean. That is the law of nature. It could be said that the forces of nature and man, whichever is stronger at the moment, prevails ever the other. In seeking the dissipate karma for changing destiny, one has to understand the basis of the imprint. When are all the pains and pleasures felt in a man? Only in his mind. All his experiences are only within the mind. When he understands his mind, he comes to understand the significance of the imprint. Disease in the body or disturbance in the mind is the symptom of bad karma. What is the purpose of your birth? It is to raise your consciousness, to fully develop the consciousness. So in everyone, whether one knows it or not, the inner aim is to develop the consciousness, whether it be an action or imprint. If it is such as would help man to reach the goal of perfection, that is good karma. It helps man to enjoy harmony, peace, and satisfaction in his life. On the other hand, those imprints of karma which obstruct, delay, stagnate, or divert one's journey towards the development of perfection, these give all the pain and troubles in life. Therefore, if there is some disease or trouble in the body, it is not come suddenly without reason. You must have done something to disturb nature or the body. You have disturbed the function of nature. First of all, it becomes juice. Then a portion of the juice becomes blood. The portion of the blood becomes flesh. And in this manner, fat, bone, marrow, semen, and ojas, all these are transformation of the food you have consumed. This transformation cannot be done by us by our own efficiency or skill. Neither our kith and kin nor our friends can do it for us by their affection and kindness. It is all done by nature. If you understand the value and precise working order of nature and respect it by living in accord with its functions, everything will go well. When we interfere with the functions of nature and eat more than can be managed by the digestive system of the body, we get sick. When we interfere with the functions of nature, when we do not understand the law of nature and therefore disturb its functions, that is called bad karma. Pain and misery are the results. So we have to understand how the pain and the pleasure sensations come and where they are arising. They are only in the mind and nowhere else. When you are able to understand the existence and the wonderful functions of the mind, it will be realized that the mind is only the wave from the life force. It is, if the relationship between the life force and the mind is understood, you can get to know very many secrets of the universe. When you understand the existence and functions of the mind gives about the secret of nature. After understanding the functions and value of the mind, when we practice streamlining our mind and will power and awareness, then we are able to lead a successful life without obstructing or interfering with the law of nature. And often we think we are trying to do the right way and we are disturbed by others. Let us see. Others cannot harm us. At the close of our meditation program, we have a rule here that we bless even those who harm us and those who are in a category of our enemies. Often our members ask, such and such a person is wantedly doing harm to me, and again, although I have only helped him. How can I sincerely bless such a person? Would not my blessing him be tantamount to extending support to his sins? This is a question that is often raised, and so let me elaborate. No man can do harm to another without a previous link of cause and effect or karma. For example, suppose a friend always thinks about me as his enemy, whereas I consider him to be my friend. He does harm to me one not so fine morning. The harmful deed of his deed, he did not come out of the blue. Without the imprint of karma in me, he could not. I had earlier done some wrong results, resulting in some sinful imprints within me. In time, it has to be exposed. Such is the law of nature. The law of nature is working with its millions and millions of hands, connecting the universal energy of various stages. The collective forces uses my friend to release my imprint into experience, and so he is doing some action that gives me pain and misery. Any action, whatever it may be, will not affect us unless there is an imprint. Suppose 10 persons go to the place where there is a contagious disease. 4 persons in the group come down with influenza. 2 are only affected a little. The remaining 4 persons are healthy. Why this difference among persons in the same group who are in the same place? The first 4 persons already had some receptive imprints, and so they got readily attuned to the virus infection. The next 2 had less of receptivity, and accordingly they responded less. The response in such cases is only according to the imprints already within the individual. In the remaining 4 persons, there was nil response. For the example, for the simple reason that they had no receptive imprint. That is how nature works, as may be seen in the case of train or aeroplane accidents too, where some persons are affected while others escape. Thus, always it is we who expose our sinful imprints into action or into our physical experience. The collective force, the law of nature, only uses other persons as instruments or media to carry out its works. When the imprints are thus released, we get pain or pleasure. Accordingly, the other person is doing some mischief to me only because nature is using him as an instrument. At this point, one pertinent doubt may arise in the minds of many whether it is not injustice in the law of nature that my suffering, which would become a curse on him, should end up in his getting imprints. If it is nature that is using him in a particular way, why should he be penalized? Let me answer. Nature is omniscient. It will not commit any mistake. There will never be injustice in nature. It is the limitation of the human mind which is conditioned with certain concepts that leads to a wrong conclusion. The man who harmed me now would have already thought of doing some sinful action which was thereupon imprinted in his personality, but he could not carry it out in action because of environmental conditions. That bad thought force is within him. The thought force had been imprinted, but the action had not manifested. So nature linked just the proper man with me in order to expose my karma. He is to finish the action which is imprinted in him as a thought force, and I got the result as harm or pain. That in this way. Nature is working within everything and within every man as all pervasive, all pervasive and omniscient. The result comes in time, but be sure there will not be any slip up, that is destiny. Can destiny be changed or not? That we have to analyze. Now we get back to the question proper. Is it possible for man to alter his destiny? Yes, man can certainly change his destiny. The effort of man has its own force. Whatever the destiny of an imprint which is yet to be exposed, it has come only by his own action. Therefore, as the imprint was created only by man's action, why should we not remove it by the method of superimposition? How can do that? I have said on previous occasions that by blessing a person, we come to the divine state of mind. When some person harmed me, that which was imprinted in me and in him brought both of us together by the law of nature, and both released the imprints into experience in his form of his action and my suffering. If I were to hate him for his action, I would only be spoiling my mind and increasing the bad imprints in me as well as in the other person. By blessing him, I am purified, and the other man is also benefited by my action. Actually, he could have been my friend, but for my act in the manner, it is the imprint and reflection. Now, you are recording my speech. What is in the tap? If you take it out and see, nothing. When if you disintegrate it into atoms, you cannot find my speech there. But when you put the tap in the machine and press the correct button, it reflects all the imprints of my talk. The working of imprints and the reflections is very mysterious indeed, but the fact of their working cannot be denied. A sentence in some book we had studied 20 years back comes to our mind all of a sudden, either because of our willing it or even automatically according to the frequency of the mind. No one can say with precision where and how the sentence had remained imprinted, but the fact remains that it is recalled. The law of nature works thus in a wondrous way, never failing and never mission a step. Therefore, we should ever think and act with care. We should exercise a close watch over every thought and deed of our, lest our karma should pile up and drag us down. If we believe in this cause and effect system, we have to believe in the karma theory also. Such events in proper time. Unless we understand and work for their removal, they will definitely reflect in one way or another. Questions as to whether astrology could be subscribed to or not are also asked frequently. According to astrology, man's destiny is conditioned by the positions of the planets. Let us now look into the matter. The entire universe is functioning as perfectly that all the levels of energy are interconnected. The birth of an individual takes place according to the imprints already made and stored and at a particular point in time. When the planets are in a particular position, as when and how we develop our mind and willpower, we can surely change the destiny or the influence of planets. For this purpose, some systematized method is necessary to streamline one's thoughts, strengthen the mind, and increase willpower. What is that method? Undoubtedly, yoga. With faith in the cause and effect system, which is as valued in nature as the law of gravity. Through the practice of yoga, you can exercise the mind to work according to your will and to work in unison with the speed of the body. If the speed of the body is at one level and that of the mind at a different level, they do not pull on together, and the result is confusion, conflict, and disturbance. So, if you develop your spiritual knowledge, you will understand the speed, effect, and the value of your mind, and you will understand how you could act to adjust to the speed and capability of your body. With your wisdom, that is spirituality. Spiritual knowledge is the knowledge to deal with the materials correctly without causing ill effects, and also to develop the consciousness day by day to enlighten. That is the spiritual life. Therefore, by understanding the self, by realization of the self, realization of the existence, the functions of the mind, and realization of the soul, one can change one's destiny entirely, even by improving the willpower, by changing the pattern of life and the pattern of thinking. You can superimpose and dissipate the present imprints. You can get rid of them altogether or change them or at least reduce their force. All this will come only by a regular and systematic psychic practice and moral behavior in deeds. It is a practice that is yoga. In yoga, there are four practices: pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. These are all related to the mind, related to the life force and the body. There are four other practices: yama, niyama, asana, and pranayama. All these are to retain the health of the body and also to discipline one's activities so that one can maintain harmony with the society and the mind can develop to enlightenment. Pratyekara is a withdrawal of the mind from outward activities. Dharana is focusing attention on one thing at will, concentration. Fixing that attention on the life force is meditation or dhyana. Tracing the base or origin of the life force, which is the universal being or the Almighty, is samadhi. If one practices these four, gradually the mind gets stronger and peaceful. Then one can easily understand the purpose of life and the law of nature and how to change destiny in the desired way. Enlightenment of consciousness is the right way to change destiny. Thus, our future is in our hands, since what we are now is our own making. We should develop awareness of this truth and march on with self-confidence and cheer. The whole concept of consciousness is defined as Vethathiri's laws of consciousness. Let us see what are the laws. Number one, law of totality. Everything in and beyond the universe is an integrated whole, which can only be named consciousness. It is actually indivisible and one consciousness. Totality cannot be detected by the senses or by instruments. Number two, law of space, particle, and wave. The universe is comprised of whirling waves of space defining energy particles. Energy, every energy particle radiates a constant spreading effect or spreading wave. Number three is law of order of motion. From the very first moment of the universe, the working order of consciousness in space, particle, and wave is and has been pattern, precision, and regularity. Number four is law of four dimensions of motion. The four inseparable dimensional factors of the energy particle are volume, force, time, and distance. Number five, law of universal magnetism. Magnetism is the primary phenomenon resulting from interaction between the spreading waves of energy particles and the static, non-motion state which contrasts, underlies, and surrounds each particle and the universe entirely. That is, the spreading wave and the standing force contrast one another and jointly become universal magnetism. The spreading wave here is repulsion. The static state is attraction. All conditions of the universe are only greater or lesser degrees of repulsion. The static state alone is attraction. Constant and unchanging but perceivable only wherever repulsion is reduced. Number six, law of five functions of waves. The spreading waves which will the spreading waves which fill the universe are continuously interacting with and affecting all others by clash, reflection, refraction, penetration, and interaction. Number seven is law of imprints. Due to the aforesaid five functions of the wave, there are constant changes in the dimensional factors of every energy particle. Each such change is called imprint. At any given moment, the total imprints determine the quality or character of the particle and its wave. Number eight, law of karma or cause and effect. The spreading wave from each particle carries the composite effect of its imprints and induces the same effect wherever and upon whatever it clashes according to receptivity. The reflection of imprints perpetrate constant changes on all particles. This is the law of cause and effect, called karma in human life in a broader sense, because consciousness is indivisible. Each and every movement in the universe instantaneously affects the whole. Number 9 is law of 5 elements. Due to magnetism, particles associate into 5 objective fields or elements: energy, air, hot air, liquid, and solid. Number 10 is law of physical transformation of wave. Clash of wave of energy particles within the fields of the 5 elements gives rise to the corresponding phenomena: pressure, sound, light, taste, and smell. Law of organism. When all these 5 elements are localized in a particular proportion, organism comes into being. Due to a specific ratio of these 5, magnetism is continuously circulated, covering reproduction and self-fulfillment of the organism. Number 12, law of man, his potential and purpose. There is an evolutionary propensity of consciousness in order to life forms of increasing complexity and efficiency so as to express or embody full capability to realize and identify itself, for which the human being is the perfect form. From the first moment of the universe, through one sense beings and up to 5 sense beings, all the above laws are determining existence. Only man has the sixth sense to discern these laws, identify them as consciousness, and thereby realize himself as the same consciousness. To conclude, the universe is not restricted to the facts perceived by the senses. There are 4 stages of consciousness. 1, total consciousness. 2, motion consciousness. 3, perceiving consciousness. And 4, self-realizing consciousness. Man is conditioned with the 3rd stage of physical events. The other 3 subtler stages of consciousness will be known by man when he is able to reduce his mental frequency at his will by systematized practice of inner travel. He is by nature equipped for this. When he realizes stage 2, he could experience the life force, which is the center of all motion. When he experiences the total consciousness, he will come to the origin of the universe, and in such a state, the total consciousness will reveal all the subtle functions of consciousness. He will not feel he is something other than it or he is away from it. Here he realizes the truth. He is that and that is he. Here in this experience, he automatically achieves the truth stage. Scientists can understand the objective events of the universe by measuring them by volume, force, time, and distance with the help of their implements and instruments. 1, the origin of primordial state of the universe. Number 2, the life force, which is the first stage of motion. And 3, the actions and results. The cause and effect system, otherwise called the karma theory. These 3 could be understood only by the consciousness beyond senses and instruments. Until these three stages are understood by scientists through proper psychic practice, science will not be complete. So the aim of completion of these principles of consciousness is to induce the scientist to go further in research of universal secrets so as to reach perfection and ultimate understanding. Only after making the intellectuals of the world acquire the awareness of the above three natural facts, the five important fields of life, that is, religion, health, economics, politics, and sciences of scientists of research faculties will be enabled to be utilized in their administration for the prosperity, happiness, and the peace of mankind. Be blessed by the divine. வாழ்க வையகம் வாழ்க வையகம் வாழ்க வளம்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Thank you, sir. Now, we would like to invite Arulnidhi Valliapan Selvam from M.V.Rabindranath Center, Singapore for concluding speech. Sir is working as a principal manager in Building and Construction Authority, Singapore. He is associated with M.V.SKY Singapore Center for last 6 years. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. வாழ்க வளமுடன், sir.
Be blessed by the divine, be blessed by the divine, be blessed by the divine. Good evening, scholars, senior professors, and SKY professors. Thanks for giving me a wonderful opportunity to give this concluding speech. It actually gives me an accelerated learning in the area of imprints and consciousness with our senior professor M. Sathyamoorthy Aya's speech. Before concluding his speech, I wish to say something about this Conscious 360. It is an excellent platform to create awareness and to spread Vethathiri to the whole world and to attain peace and prosperity. Because all these years we have been practicing it only in Tamil, and the main barrier for reaching the other religion, other caste, or other people who do know Tamil, this is the excellent platform to create our own knowledge, strengthen on the Vethathiri, so that we are very sure that as our Swamiji thought, Vethathiri will spread to the whole world. Coming back to our senior professor's speech, sir, my age is your experience. Just in case, if, as you said, man's knowledge is limited. Just in case, if I do not conclude all your thoughts that you mentioned on the imprints and consciousness in a very simpler way, please forgive me. This is to make or avoid future imprints, because of I don't conclude everything in a positive way. Okay, in overall summary, it was an excellent speech that starts with who am I, and then if I am part of this totality, then why am I suffering? That gives us a clear indication that I am carrying the imprints from my ancestors, from the animals to ancestors to parents, and all the activities that I've been doing it all these years and in the future. It was a very good and interesting speech, which means that I'm carrying my imprints. First, you explained how we understand that we are carrying the imprints and acknowledge it. That's the half the thing that has been crossed. Secondly, you also clearly explained how to change the destiny of our future. Thanking you for your excellent speech, sir. Let me go in detail on various aspects of the imprints and the consciousness that you shared with us for the last 1 hour. So you are given a wonderful philosophical explanation and also a scientific explanation on the static origin, static state of origin, where it can be up to the atoms and even beyond the atoms from where we come into this world, and how we carry the imprints is really amazing and very impressive examples that you have quoted throughout your speech. Just a minute. Okay, so you also explained about the joint function of the forces of the nature and the action. The forces of the actions, the forces of the nature cannot be altered or washed away. However, the man's action has its own imprints that creates whenever we do bad things against the nature or against anyone, it creates the bad karma, and which will be retaliated back to us. Only the time is the answer for it, which is a very good examples that you have quoted to us. And it also explained us how the actions that we do, or that helps in making the waves that to move in the direction of a clashing, reflecting, refracting, penetrating, and interacting. So every action for every wave will result the change in both the waves of both the people who have been involved in the activities. The fourthly, you have addressed on the imprints and the consequences, which is a good example. Next time, whenever I type in the computer, I will remember this on the imprints and the consequences. Means that the examples you quoted, even I will listen to some of your online videos. It was the examples that makes the people to think and follow Vethathiri in a real life. So the example on the typewriting, which creates the imprints that goes into your senses of the limbs and senses, and then on the brain cells, and in the seed cells that has been transformed into the next generation example, real good examples that everyone who have listened to this talk today will remember that whenever they next day when they go for office or when they type in the system. Classic examples. Subsequently, you addressed how do we get in tune with the nature. When you explained the examples again here, that whether you can, after knowing the imprints, whether you can change your destiny or not. Because most of the people who are not into this Vethathiri, they always think that it is my fate, I need to face it, and that's the only solution they have it. And they do not see the next step on how they can change their destiny by following simple Vethathiri concepts. The examples that you are given is like the rain pours every year, and its nature tendency is going into the low-lying land. But man constructs a dam, and he creates the nature to stop it. And sometimes the dam even breaks and enters into the ocean at the end. So which is the in our daily concepts. So do good things, then it will result in good things. That is very simple examples that you are quoted as. And it is also by doing it, you also explained that the man and the nature are combating and commanding each other, which is classic examples, I would say. Moving forward. Yeah, you have mentioned about the food, that if you take the food that enough food that you can digest, then your body is will be a good can digest. Then that's where the sickness starts to penetrate into your body, which is an information, and many of us would have been confirmed that in their daily life. And after your thought, I hope we will make it as a transformation to take only what we need to take. And even in your earlier thoughts on food, in online videos, I've seen that if a yoga practitioner, if he is a perfect, then it should be of a perfect fitness. But why most of us are either underweight or overweight? Because of the simple the tongue that you explained it, which is a real thought process for everyone has to follow it in our daily life. Then the next one is the most interesting part is the others cannot harm us. I was in this system only for the last 6 years, but my wife was in for even a longer time. And whenever others create or do harmness, she used to tell that they are helping to clear the imprints at a faster rate, which is a real true. And I understand it after hearing your examples that others cannot harm you. Actually, they are as an instrument to clear your imprints in a faster rate. The excellent or the classic part of the entire speech is that whether you can change your destiny. If you can change the destiny, then what is the most important thing that you need to do by following the Vethathirium examples, Vethathirium principles? That is really very amazing in concepts that you have explained it today. One of the example that you have mentioned is like places 10 people got affected, which remembers me of my mom getting infected with the COVID in the last year. So there are many people who went, but only my mom was infected with COVID. So that shows the receptivity of the person, and all the action that happens after that is all the instruments that the nature is making it to happen. So that once we understand an action, that then we will be able to appreciate the nature's work, that it is all happening with the cause, and we need to clear our imprints as early as possible along the future activities. So can the destiny be changed? Yes, with your examples of superimposition and dissolution, we are very sure that the destinies can be changed. And your speech brings us two great things. One is the greatest challenge of bringing these concepts to the entire world, and also the greatest opportunity for us to improve ourselves and to follow Vethathirium, to being a role model for others to follow us without even explaining to them. Once again, thanks for a wonderful opportunity given to me. I hope I have concluded most of your speeches. Thanking you.
Thank you, sir. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Now, we will post the link for the feedback form in the Zoom chat box. Kindly fill up this form and share your inputs to make the program better. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Now, the forum is open for Q&A, question and answer session. Interested aspirants may click Raise Hand button in the Zoom application. Now, we would request our SKY senior professors, other professors to come forward and share their insight thought about today's session. Now, I would like to call Dr. Shakti Karunanidhi, sir. We are unmuting you, sir.
வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன். I just wanted to thank Senior Professor Sathyamoorthy's fantastic exposition of Maharishi's law of consciousness. I have a question, sir. You mentioned that unless scientists engage in psychic practices and realize it, science will not be complete. But we also know law of nature, which is already determined. But equally, we also know that human mind is the only faculty available to use the willpower to change the laws of nature or live in harmony with the laws of nature. So how will this develop, in your opinion, sir, about science itself and scientists taking up this psychic practice to realize? Because science itself is limited through observation and experiments. It's only limited to our own perceptual abilities. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on that, sir. Thank you.
But science should be complete. Thank you for the question you raised. Science is the branch which has come from truth. That is, philosophy is truth. Science is up to the knowledge you developed. That's all. So, if you need a complete form of science, you should realize philosophy. Without philosophy, what is science means? A house without a door, entrance, not safe. So, scientists and the scholars, researchers, if they understand the life force and its function only, they can complete the faculty and they can do good to the society. Now science is doing so many goods along with certain bad effects also. So to maintain harmony in the society, they should realize the life force. In medical science, the life force they are not accepting. Life is there, they are saving the life, even transplant heart to brain, but life force, when you say, still they are not accepting because they need an instrument and proof. Unless otherwise, you subtle your frequency from beta to alpha, theta, and delta. In delta wavelength only, you can realize the totality consciousness. Without making that practice, you not complete. That is why we say, if they also realize, the world will be benefited.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, if I may, just a quick follow-up question. So what should we be doing to encourage scientists more? If it is again all determined by laws of nature, how can we get science understand the philosophy? I agree with you, sir. We have gone down too much along the scientific route. How can we get scientists interested in philosophy?
Yes. No, there is no other alternative. They have to come to, because previously the whole world was suffering from that is no malnutrition. Now the whole world is suffering from obesity,
overnutrition.
overnutrition. So you think you got everything. So when you want to get rid of that effect, you have to realize and you have to correct yourself. So they will come in search of yoga.
Thank you, sir.
Kali Yuga, end of Kali Yuga. So they have to come back to.
Here, Maharishi explains the limitations of the scientists. Science cannot accept things which it cannot perceive, which cannot be observed through the instruments, which cannot be reproduced. All these things are not possible in the realm of the abstract state, the spirituality. And to understand spirituality, scientists have no means, so they cannot understand. And the only means which is available for them is to acquire this skill of observing the subtle nature of the life force and the magnetism, mind, etc. Not only life force is not accepted, but the structure of the mind and the functioning of the mind is not understood in science, simply because it is also abstract. And only way for the scientists to understand this, Maharishi used to say, I am interested in the scientists, I am eager to meet them and make them practice yoga so that they acquire this skill and expand their knowledge of and sphere of understanding, so that there is no uh, limitations for the scientists to get into the realm of spirituality. In fact, a scientist is better placed to understand spirituality than a common man. So this idea is only to encourage the scientists or the world to accept Vethathiri. Thank you.
1 minute, sir. In Tamil, there is the exact word, Vinyana.
Yes, yes.
Science means the knowledge is only up to the wind, energy particle, not beyond. Philosophy is beyond. So philosophy is complete, science is incomplete.
Valliapan would request all Sky professor to share their views. Dr. Shanmugavelu sir. We are unmuting you, Dr. Shanmugavelu sir. Valliapan sir. Any more questions? Okay. Now we would request our Sky Senior Professor Dr. Rabindra, Director, President R&D, World Community Service Center, RER, to deliver vote of thanks. Oh. Just a minute. Valliapan, there is a technical issue.
I think both of them, they have audio problem.
Yes, yeah, yes, yeah. Mic இல்ல உங்களுது கால் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன் நான்.
Yeah, both even Muthumani and both.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yeah.
I think
Just I'm calling there.
maybe we have to conclude.
Yeah, Galaxy M30. We are unmuting you. Galaxy M30. Please unmute your mic from your side, sir. Please.
Yes, yes, yes. Doctor is online. Please wait.
Hello.
வாழ்க வளமுடன் sir. Yes, sir.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Shall we ask Dr. Saktidharan to?
Hello. Again, technical issue. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Please bear with us for some time. We are trying to fix the issue. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Sathyamoorthy, meantime, in chat box, you can see some questions are there and they are sharing some.
Shankari.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Please ask Dr. Saktidharan to give his comments.
Saktidharan. Okay, I will check. Yeah, 1 second. I don't know whether
Saktidharan he is there. Dr.
He's there.
Saktidharan, you are there.
ஐயா வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Yes, sir, yeah, you're audible, please.
Okay, thank you. The concept of consciousness, I have been just doing a short research tracing back where people have started this concept, and it goes back to ancient Greek philosophy. From Socrates' time, they have conceptualized it, although didn't use the word consciousness, but they have conceptualized this as perfect form, or rather even God. And then through the history, force. And more recently, in the last 300, 400 years, there has also always been the debate of how a physical change can be brought by a mental state. And still the research and the philosophical debate, both from science and philosophy perspective, is happening to find a satisfactory answer. However, in the Western philosophy, the debate is always polarized as to either you agree that mental state is there, or you explain the mental state with physical manifestations like atoms, subatomic particles, or even the neurophysiology, hormones. I think Maharishi's teachings, as well as the Eastern philosophical concepts, have dwelled into detail on mind and consciousness, or Brahman, for thousands of years, whereas the Western world has dwelled into science more recently in the last 300, 400 years particularly, but not particularly into mind. But recently, in the last 10 years, they are also realizing, in my opinion, that beyond a certain point, they cannot explain what is actually in between the subatomic particles, or like Professor Sathyamoorthy explained and Maharishi has also explained in the past, that the mind cannot think beyond volume, force, time, or distance. So in my understanding, the world is slowly but surely coming to or nearing the conclusion to accept another new way of explaining the world, particularly consciousness. That is where I believe that Maharishi's explanations in very simple language is more accessible to everybody. And we have a duty to fill some gaps where the Western philosophers and scientists across the world perhaps have left over the period of time. Even if you take Newton explains that there is a force between two large and small objects, and there is a formula. It will appear as if the force is always an attractive force. However, the concept of Maharishi is both a repulsive force and the attractive force. I think that gives a better explanation of even Newton's description. And more recently on the consciousness, there is a slow acceptance that consciousness can only be explained if we can conceive the idea of something that can transform into many things. So the Panchatanmatras, as well as the recent Nobel Prize winner Penrose, have also started to describe the dark matter and how everything, even light can't penetrate. There's a Nobel Prize paper that was presented last year. So I think we have got some solutions if we can try and explain it in the way that other cultures will understand. Then Maharishi's teachings and Vethathiri has got a lot of keys to unravel the current day problems, as well as long-standing issues like mind and consciousness. So that is really, really a very good place to be in. And for us to progress these thoughts and put these arguments is how, not in the way that we understand arguments, but in a way that the philosophers and the scientists understand the debates. I think we have got a lot of material that it is time to bring out to life in a way that makes sense to whatever we have discovered so far, and also proceed with plugging some of the gaps. That is what I feel, sir, and thank you for asking me, Dr. Rabindranath.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Any more questions? Yes, Rangasamy Ayya. We are unmuting you, Sky Professor Rangasamy Ayya. Please ask your questions, or you may share your thoughts. Rangasamy Ayya. ஐயா உங்க ஆடியோ கேட்கல. வாழ்க வளமுடன். We are unmuting you, Galaxy M30s NAP. வாழ்க வளமுடன். We are unmuting you, Galaxy M30s NAP. ரங்கசாமி ஐயா, வாழ்க வளமுடன். Yeah, we are unable to hear your voice, Rangasamy Ayya. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Again, there is a technical issue. Please bear with us. Vargolamudan. Okay. Now we invite SKY Senior Professor Dr. Ravinder, Director, President R&D, World Community Service Center, RER, to deliver vote of thanks. Sir Ravinder, sir. Again, there is some technical issue. Okay. We invite SKY Professor Dr. Shakti Karnanidhi, sir, for vote of thanks, please.
வாழ்க வையகம் வாழ்க வையகம் வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
பேசலாம் ஐயா.
வந்துட்டாருங்க ஐயா வந்துட்டாரு.
Okay.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Yes, Ayya, we are audible now.
All right. The question and answer session is over.
Yes, Ayya.
I got disconnected and just now I have come. Shall I proceed with the vote of thanks?
Yes, Ayya. Vargolamudan. Vargolamudan, Ayya. Ayya, are you there? Ayya? Rabindra, Ayya? Again, yes, there is some technical issue.
Shankari, can you hear me now? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you. Mine also was a technical issue, but it was excellent, and Senior Professor Sathyamoorthy has just taken us through step by step.
Rangasamy, again, we are unable to hear your voice. There is some technical issue. I'm checking. Please bear with us. Vargolamudan, Ayya.
I think there is an issue from all the sides.
Yes. Now, again, I would request
Shakti Dharanaya, you can.
Shakti, Ayya, please conclude the session.
Okay. Senior Professor Sathyamoorthy Ayya has given us a very detailed explanation based on Maharishi's laws of consciousness and imprints. This subject is truly groundbreaking in the sense that it is available to all of us without any restrictions and prejudice. And it is such a great honor to be part of this series. And I just wanted to thank on behalf of all of us, Professor Sathyamoorthy's efforts. And we are all taking everything that you have given us, sir, in further progressing Maharishi's teachings to reach the world, like you said, through science as well as philosophy. So on behalf of all of us, we would like to thank you very much for the wonderful session. Varga Vayyagam, Varga Vayyagam, Varga Valamudan. Shankari ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Varga Valamudan. Thanks again to all participants, SKY's senior professors, and please participate in this event every week. Next week, 20th February 2020, we have SKY Senior Professor M. Sadasivam speaking on the topic Overall View of Consciousness. You can watch and subscribe to Consciousness 360-degree videos on the YouTube channel Vethathiri Gurukulam and Facebook page Vethathiri Maharishi Kundalini Yoga. Spread the word to all your SKY friends. Let everyone take part in this event. May the blessings of Almighty and Guru Yogiraj Vethathiri Maharishi be with us always. See you all next week. Practice our SKY Yoga every day. Stay safe till then. Be blessed by the divine. Now we are going to conclude the session with World Peace Prayer.
உலகமெல்லாம் பருவமழை ஒத்தபடி பெய்யட்டும், உழவரெல்லாம் தானியத்தை உவப்புடனே பெருக்கட்டும், பல தொழில்கள் புரிகின்ற பாட்டாளுணர்வில் தொகுத்துணர்வே பண்பாட்டை உயர்த்தட்டும், கலகங்கள் போட்டி பகை கடந்தாட்சி நடக்கட்டும், கல்லாமை கடன் வறுமை களங்கங்கள் மறையட்டும், நலவாழ்வை அளிக்கும் மெய்ஞான ஒளி வீசட்டும், நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின் நாட்டத்தே சிறக்கட்டும், நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின் நாட்டத்தே சிறக்கட்டும். வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.